Maverick Physical Therapy, we're back. We're going to be taking a look at now in episode 3 of the anterior reach lower extremity drivers some mobility techniques that are going to go after the mid-tarsal joint. We're going to be using this foam wedge. We're going to be using the right lower extremity with the right upper extremity as a driver for TZ1 related activities. So what I like to do in terms of going after the mid-tarsal joint, palpate the navicular tuberosity, navicular, that tail navicular joint, that ball and socket-like joint, are the dividing lines between the rear foot and the midfoot, that great divide, calcaneocuboid kind of junction, the mid-tarsal joint that really establishes and enables us to unlock the midfoot and the forefoot, get it to loosen up, to shape into a contour, to the surface changes that we go in, so we can get that washcloth ringing like effect. So we're going to invert the wedge to get eversion of the mid-tarsal joint. So we're basically slowing down the midfoot and the forefoot. Again, to kind of specify between what is what. Calcaneus and talus are considered to be the rear foot and midfoot. We're looking at the navicular, the cuboid, the medial, middle, and lateral cuneiforms forming the midfoot, the metatarsals, phalanges, the forefoot. So we've got this inverted foam wedge. We'll start with the left lower extremity on the wedge, and we'll just kind of sequence and kind of go from there. So we're trying to, in the frontal plane, take up some slack to unlock kind of that midfoot, to open up the mid-tarsal joint so that we can get more mobility and disassociation between the rear foot as well as the midfoot. So we'll add our sagittal plane driver with our upper extremity and lower extremity, and now we'll go in sync with the right upper extremity and driving the transverse plane anywhere from 45 to 90 degrees or more. And I can really feel a great stretch, really cranking throughout the foot and the ankle as that foot really wants to dissociate. We'll then go with just a little frontal plane, kind of upper extremity driver to continue to facilitate that eversion at the mid-tarsal joint, that slack that we're taking out of the system, so we can propel the subtalar joint to kind of separate, so that talus and that calcaneus, a little bit more of the talocalcaneo kind of joint right there, which is called the subtalar joint. It's kind of like the elf on the shelf, which we'll get to in Kinetic Linking Friday this week. We can then add our little pendy swings. Transverse plane, really facilitate that medial rotation, and then a little in-sync frontal plane to really continue to drive that eversion at the mid-tarsal joint, that dorsiflexion, as well as that relative abduction at the mid-tarsal joint as we take up that frontal plane motion. We're now going to go anterior medial with our driver. Just a straight anterior medial reach, the left lower extremity and the right upper extremity. You can add a little more rotation to it. So we're going from anywhere from 45 to 90 or beyond to really kind of wind things up from the top down, that tornado-like chain reaction-like effect. We'll then also kind of go with our, it's kind of a little frontal plane and sync reach. And then we'll go back to going after our pendy swings. Love the pendy swings for the anterior reaches. The speed of it, gathering the momentum of the body, facilitating from the top down, really does some interesting and epic things from the top down that we can't just typically get with just a reach. So we'll speed it on up. Speed it on up. We'll also kind of load with the sagittal plane in ways as well with the contralateral upper extremity driver. Now we're going to go straight medial. Come on up, buddy, your puzzle's up here. We're going to go with the right upper extremity driver with our medial anterior reach with the lower extremity driver. We'll go with a little frontal plane. It's kind of a little in sync reach. It's important that that right foot is pointed 12 o'clock on a clock. If you're bailing for a reason. Sequence of things: tail curl, mid-tarsal, subtalar, as well as kind of the hip. But we're going to go 3D, little transverse plane, pendy swing. And now we're going to go frontal plane. Come on up, buddy. Bring your turtle helmet up. I know you're trying to drag big stuff up the stairs. Come on up. And now we're going to go posterior medial with it. With that mid-tarsal kind of unlocking with the midfoot block of the inverted foam wedge. So I can really feel that foot and that ankle just kind of go nice and loose and open on it. We'll go with a little frontal plane reach. Little frontal plane reach. And then we're going to go with pendy swing. Slipped on up for me. Little 3D pendy swing in the transverse plane. And now in the frontal plane. For TZ2, so for anterior lateral reach, what I'll typically do, I'll turn this guy around and block him from reverse so that the mid-tarsal joint, I'm already kind of helping that calcaneus invert a little bit. So get a little inversion of the calcaneus to get that dorsiflexion inversion. We go with our pendy swing in the frontal plane, and in the transverse plane. We can also shoot this guy around to the other side so that we're going after and kind of blocking on the opposite side of the mid-tarsal joint, so just laterally. So as we know from TZ2 to transition to liftoff, we have this washcloth ringing out in which the calcaneus / the heel inverts, the midfoot and the forefoot kind of mush down to the ground to give us a good solid base of support to push off of. And this with the wedge coming laterally here during TZ2 is really facilitating. A little transverse plane reach, a little frontal plane reach, and then let's go pendy swing with it. A little pendy swing with it. Good frontal plane and transverse. In episode 4, we're going to combine the wedges, foam wedges and the Kelton-borne wedge to go after dorsiflexion and eversion sequencing for TZ1, as well as inversion sequencing for TZ2. And they're also going to show you a static, kind of a little bit of a hybrid of an anterior reach lower extremity driver with a single leg toe touchdown kind of progressioning to, again, kind of help us kind of facilitate loading from the ground up, which is what the foundation of chain reaction and movement is derived from. Movement is derived from a solid base of support, which includes, or which spins around and revolves around the feet. The feet are the body's eyes. Posture is the foundation of function. Without good mobility, without good proximal stability for distal mobility, we are not going to be moving consistently, efficiently well. Rock on with these guys. Episode 4 is going to be coming your way soon. Have a great day.